welcome back to another episode of Robin Avis Ramble. Today it's just myself and Brianna, and we are gonna just throw down some girl talk for you. Hey Brianna, how are you today?
Good. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Tell us a little bit about you.
So, I work in eating psychology. I got interested in that because my foundation is nutrition, and I realized that people weren't actually applying anything that I was like telling them to do. And so I got really interested in the behavioral component. And so that's mainly what I do. I also work with addiction, all sorts of addiction to food, porn, drugs, alcohol, all of them, because they all have the same etiology, right? And so that's my day job.
Cool. Exciting. And you're also, do you do something with breast implants?
Yes, I'm a breast implant advocate too, and I sit on a panel for breast implant safety.
Okay, that's amazing. I read an article that you posted on breast implant illness. I wanted to jump into that first before we tackle some of these other topics. Explain to us your thoughts on the whole breast implant illness, if you don't mind.
Yes, so I think a lot of it is social media contagion, meaning that a lot of it is ideas that women read online and then they start panicking, right? And associating normal aging. As you know, like when you get perimenopausal and menopausal, your body starts changing. Well, it's very easy to read this list of symptoms because it's literally everything for breast implant illness, right?
Yeah,
And
yes,
so
I've read
they
it.
Yeah, and so they start applying like all these normal aging symptoms to their breast implants. And they join a group with 100,000 people and they just hear how terrible they are the entire time. So silicone is very biocompatible. It's one of the most heavily studied like substances that they put in the body. Uh, it covers like dental implants, like there's stents have silicone in them, like there's
Yeah.
silicone in a bunch of different like uh, products that get placed in the body, but no one ever like thinks of those. They only think about breast implants with this illness, right?
Right.
And so that I think it's mostly an internet contagion. I mean, some people do react to bacterial biofilms within the capsule, but if they would just replace the implants, they usually get better.
Okay. Cool. And so from your experience, do you think breast implants are a buy once and you're done, or what's the lifetime expectancy from your perspective?
Yeah, so some of the newer ones do last longer than 10 years. Some of the older generations are 10-year devices. Um, Personally, I think that it's good to replace them every decade just because skin is subject to gravity, right?
Yeah.
And so you kind of want it tightened too, like every decade or 15 years, right? And so I don't think, like, I wouldn't keep mine in for a lifetime. Like, I'll be switching mine out at the end of the year. And I've had them for around a decade.
Let's talk about beauty standards. You're a wife and a mom, right?
Yes.
Uh what what do you think is important as a wife to do for yourself in order to keep yourself attractive? You agree that being the most attractive version of ourselves is best?
Yes. Yes. So I think that a lot of women let themselves go within like a marriage, right? And
Mhm.
I understand how that happens. I'm not wired like that, but I do understand that some people don't get any help, right? With with taking care of the kids and stuff, and they get overwhelmed, and then they don't want to spend the time on themselves, or they don't prioritize themselves. But what I do when I'm working with clients is I have them understand that if they're not taking care of themselves, they're not showing up best for their children or their husband, right? They're
Mhm.
going to feel negative about their body or their looks, right? And that gets projected out to their husband and children if they think so or not. We
Right.
we feel better or we look better or we feel better when we look better, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and take that into the bedroom too. Don't you feel like you're more willing to get naked and be in front of your husband when you feel good about how you look?
Yes, and I mean that improves the woman's mental health too. I think a lot of women, because I work in like eating psychology, so I understand these behaviors really well. They do it as a form of like resentment, like if you're not going to help me, then I'm not going to look good, right? But that's kind of like self-defeating. Like you're only harming yourself because then you don't feel sexy even when you leave your house. Like you don't feel sexy anywhere. Like it
Yeah.
just it's like self-harm behaviors. Like a lot of women will overeat so their husband like stops touching them. It's like a passive aggressive kind of behavior, which it just ruins the marriage, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
I
just toxic.
I yeah. I've never been in that mindset personally. Um or like, I'm a gym rat, but I don't wear leggings 100% of the time. Like in my mind, leggings are for when I'm working out or in the gym, maybe on a casual day, but like it's just as easy to put on a pair of pants.
Yep, yep. And so I, I'm in gym clothes like probably 5 days a week. But when I go out, I dress up like and I go all out. Like
Yeah,
I think that it creates like a novelty for your husband too. Because men are, I think I've talked about this online a lot. Men are very visual. Like that's
absolutely.
not a flaw. Like that's just how their brain processes information. Like they're spatially aware more than women. And so their brain just processes visual cues more. And so I think it's very important to give them that novelty, like throw on a new outfit or make it a presentation. Like I lock myself in my bathroom and I come out. Like I don't let him see the process. Like I just
Same.
show him the end, end result. And so it
Yes.
stimulates them.
Yeah. I like to that's kind of what we classify as keep dating, right? Because
Yep.
when you weren't living together and you were dating, they showed up at the door and you presented yourself as a finished product to be picked up. So like that is fun sometimes. I mean, obviously it's not 100 days or 100% of the time because real life is happening, but yes, every now and then to create that mystery and to sequester yourself and say, I need 2.5 hours to get ready because I'm going to do the mask. I'm going to shave my legs, like take the big
Go all
shower.
out. Wear the
Yeah.
lingerie under the dress, like do the whole thing.
Yes. Yes. Good. Yeah, I think you got to keep dating and that's part of it.
And you can't, I think that a lot of women, like the resentment, like is really what causes women to say, I'm not even going to put forth the effort. And so it takes like some maturity, like as a woman to be like, I'm not going to hold grudges against my husband. Like he's going through his own shit right now. Like worn out from work or whatever. Like that's usually why women get resentful about their husband, right? But just have some perspective shifting into his like mindset, right? And so letting go of the resentment and just doing it anyway because you're going to have fun.
Yeah, plus the resentment just keeps the cycle going, right? Because if you're
Yep.
resentful, then he's resentful. And I mean, worst case scenario, you got to flash him, right? I
Yep.
mean, I hear that
Exactly.
always
That's what I
works.
do. That's what I do.
Right?
I think it would
I,
solve a lot of problems. Like,
and so let's take that a little bit deeper. So like that's what we can do, with the products that we have in our bathroom. What tools are you using that are out there like from your med spa or other sources? Like what are you using?
yeah, so Korean skincare is like my jam. Like that's what I do. I import from Korea like skincare. Um,
Okay.
and I've done that for several years, but as far as med spa, biostimulators are what I recommend. I I dabbled with some fillers for a while, and I think they're fine in like very lightly in like the lips and stuff. But for the most part, you're going to want to stick to biostimulators because it builds up your own natural collagen, right?
Yeah.
And
And can
Botox.
you explain that? The biostimulator versus the filler? Like what is the difference?
So biostimulators stimulate fibroblasts in the skin, and so when we are young, so around 35, we start losing collagen progressively, and so these biostimulators go in and stimulate the collagen process, right?
Mhm.
Um, Fillers just go in and fill the dead space up, right, where you're sagging, and so it doesn't
Yeah.
actually regenerate the skin at all.
Yeah.
And then you end up with like weird, like we're seeing those filler faces, right? Like Madonna, like like way too much
Yeah.
filler, like Simon
It can
Cowell.
be a bad look. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my look. It's not my favorite thing. I think that if you have that much like tissue degeneration, then you should be saving for a facelift. Like it's just you can't. There's only so much you can do with biostimulators. I still feel like I look fine, and I'm in my 40s, right? And
Yeah.
you look great.
I think
Um,
you look gorgeous. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that we can hold on to our looks for a long time with the biostimulators, but there's going to be a point where you're going to need the facelift. So
There is, and then you were mentioning Botox and how that can be used.
yeah, so I've had a very good experience with Botox. I started getting it around like 27.
Okay.
Because I always had like I have a resting bitch face. Like that's just I'm very intense. Like I'm a thinker, right? And so I constantly have this like scrunched face. You can't see it now because I have Botox, but but so I learned that there's a bidirectional feedback too. When you're scowling all the time, it affects your neurotransmitters and your moods. And so using Botox to paralyze those muscles can have an effect on your mood and make you happier too. So it's a little fun little side effect. And it's definitely had that effect on me. Like I don't scowl as much, so I'm not as like grumpy looking and I don't feel as grumpy.
You said you started at age 27. So explain to us what you think aging gracefully looks like as far as product use and so on.
So I think it's heavily dependent on your body composition. Like more chubby girls, they aren't going to need as much help in their face, right? Because we lose fat from our face when we get really lean too. So it's really context dependent. If I was chubbier, then I probably wouldn't have started until my 30s. I mentioned at 35, the collagen starts degrading rapidly, and that's when I would introduce the biostimulators. Um, Botox, it really depends. Like, but I think by 35, most people need Botox.
And then what is your take on like I think it's called different things with different spas, but like Morpheus 8, the cool peeling, the PRP, I think they call it.
So
Do you
I've done
have
it all.
familiarity with that stuff?
Yeah, I've done it
Huh?
all. I'm a big fan of radio frequency microneedling. Once a year is usually sufficient. HIFU is one of my favorite. Morpheus, it can cause fat loss just because the depth that it goes is really deep. I like Morpheus for the body if you need like specific fat loss in a place, right?
So why do you think staying fit and keeping yourself in top shape is good for your marriage outside of I know we touched on it briefly, but
So I personally, I think that I have stuck with it over the past 20 years because I do it for my mental health. I'm a
yeah.
better person. I'm calmer with my son. I'm happier, which means I'm happier with around my husband, and I'm more flirtatious because it increases like testosterone, right? Like it
Yeah.
just it's all around better. But I do it primarily for my mental health. And so me and my husband were both like we did like gym dates when we were dating. Like that's just who we are and that's how we
Oh
met.
fun.
Met online. Um in a nutrition group, not like a dating app or anything, but we that's just how we function in the world like by ourselves too is fitness and nutrition and so it just worked very
Yeah.
well. But I obviously recommend it to everyone because I'm happy all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm
Um,
like, you could have this too. Like,
and then what does nutrition look like for you and your family then?
yeah, so we follow basically a Mediterranean diet as
Okay.
defined by nature, like beans, pulses, poultry, fish, lots
Mhm.
of nutrient dense, like vegetables and fruits. Yep. So I do write a lot. I have a huge, giant article on fertility for women and men. Um, and low carb diets lower kisspeptin, which signals that we're fertile, right? And that it's
Mhm.
time to make babies. And so that's insulin dependent. So you need some carbs. And
Okay.
carbs are also feed into progesterone. So you don't, I really think low carb diets are really poor for women, like overall.
Yeah, agreed. For all the reasons you mentioned and so many more. Okay, so when we talk about nutrition, there's obviously something sweeping everybody right now, the GLP-1s. And you also talk about addiction. Are you implementing GLP-1s to help with any kind of addictions, or what's your views on that?
Yeah, so there's some preprint research out there looking at GLPs with addiction, and it is going to completely change the market. Um, I'm creating a food addiction program right now. And so I will have a GLP section because I don't think they're going anywhere. But I think that these GLPs have to be used in conjunction with a mindset shift. You can't just take a medicine and not address why you were overeating in the first place or why you
Yeah,
felt emotionally dependent on whatever, right?
yeah.
It
Hmm.
does lower addictions while you're taking it, but there is instances where you can't take it. Like for surgeries, you have to come off 4 weeks in advance. Um,
Yeah,
or if you develop a side effect, like then you have to come off, and then you're stuck not knowing how to deal with it. And so I
yeah.
think it has to be a multi-pronged like response.
Agreed. I think it's very crazy to me how doctors are prescribing them to people that want to lose weight, but they got heavy because they're not exercising, they're not eating properly. And then they just are not informing them that, they're losing muscle mass. And as women, as we age, it gets harder and harder to build muscle. So women that are being put on these medications and they're just burning through their muscle. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you do not understand.
I think it's almost necessary to hire a coach if you've never mastered like dieting and weightlifting before, if you are going on a GLP, so you can be guided, because these doctors, they don't have the time. Like that's what it is. They don't have the time to like teach someone about nutrition and fitness. And so
Yeah.
they're there just to give you the medication, but it's your responsibility to go hire a coach or a consultant or something to guide you into not losing that muscle mass, right?
Yes.
So I think the dose that most people are using are way too high. Um,
That.
and if they can't eat their protein, it's too high. That's what it is. Like I a lot of them will eat carbs instead of their protein, but I'm like, if you can't eat your protein, then your dose is too high and you should come off. Like, you have to make a choice.
Yeah, and I hear a lot too, I do work out, but when you really get down into the nuts and bolts of it, they're just going to the gym, where from my standpoint, like, a program designed with progressive overload to achieve the shape that you want is so much better than just, "I work out."
Yeah, a lot of them are like sitting on the bike playing on their phone. Like
Yeah,
they're not actually doing any like progressive overload kind of workouts. I think hiring a coach is the best
the
because
best. Right, and I think that's the benefit you're gonna get from a coach as well, is you're not just like doing ab workouts that you think are making your abs look good, but really they're just making you wider or,
yep.
creating a shape that you don't really desire. And you talked about when you were getting ready for your wedding, it being an art project, and that sort of built into shape as well.
Yes, so I have this thing where, well, it's my husband. He likes like bigger butts and very small waists, right?
Oh,
And
okay, yeah.
so you have to have enough fat as a woman on your butt to have a butt. Like I'm at my genetic potential. I've been lifting for years. Like I am in the 99th percentile for muscle mass for my frame. So I'm not going to get bigger as far as like muscle. And so I have to
Mhm.
keep enough fat on me. But my arms also, I don't like them when I have more body fat on, right? And so it is an
Yeah,
art project, because then I'm like, I'm working out, like, I'm not doing cardio because I don't want to lose my ass, right? And so I'm just doing
right.
a lot of upper body to get like my arms the way I want, and then a couple days of like lower body to get the shape of the butt, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And so it is
and
an art project of what you want most, right? Like what body style. If I wanted to be like a Pilates princess or something and have that body, that's not appealing to me, but it is to some women. uh, they don't care about the butt so much, right?
No, no, it doesn't seem like they do
Yeah, it
anyways.
doesn't seem like it to me. And so
Yeah.
if that's not their goal, if their goal is just to look really lean, then they don't need to worry about like progressive overload on the glutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't want the butt, you don't have to worry about that. But okay, but the studies are coming out. So like we talk about the butt like it's just some vain piece of body part that we want it to look good. But for women, like that's where a lot of our mass is in our lower body, and that's going to control our metabolism and our insulin production and or regulation. And so it's like it's more than just looks.
Yes.
It
So
is kind of the key to youthfulness.
yeah.
We have traditionally smaller upper bodies than lower bodies. And what is your view on like hair, makeup, nails? Um,
So I owned a salon, and so I love all of it, right?
yes.
Um, so I did hair mostly, um, and at, I had a strict rule that I would not color anyone like a peacock, right? Like, I would not take any money for that. So I think that women, I know that ruffles a lot of feathers, like saying that like blue hair is not attractive to men. But if your goal is to attract a man, you should have a normal, natural hair color, like
Yes.
and longer. Those are my views on that. I think that men generally don't like short, multicolored hair, and most of us want to attract the opposite sex. I mean, some people
Yes.
don't care, but most of us do. As far as makeup, I like makeup, and my husband likes it too. So I've never. I know there's a lot of like online talk where men say that they like women without makeup, but that's not really what they respond to anyway. So I just don't listen. Like I definitely get more attention with makeup on.
I think on that note, a lot of men will say that they don't like it or they don't want the fillers or the Botox because they want a natural look. But I think if you're doing it all right, you're really
They-
building a look that is very natural.
I think that as long as your goal is to look natural, then you're fine,
Yeah.
and you're better off actually doing it.
Makeup is a whole thing. I'm guessing because of your background and your salon ownership and things like that, like you're pretty handy at it.
Yes, so
Um,
I took like classes, and so that's my foundation
yeah,
is doing it. So
like cosmetology, like how does somebody, say me at 52 who is adequate but would like to take it to the next level, like how do you go to the next level as far as like learning like all the stuff you put on under your foundation and all the different like there's contour kits and like how do you
yeah,
learn
so
how to use all
I'm
that?
like very basic with that stuff. I don't like wearing a lot of makeup. I
Okay.
will like when we go out. Um,
Mhm.
but I learn. I've had to relearn, right? Because when you mature and you get more wrinkles, like you have to do your makeup different,
Yeah.
so it doesn't look as cakey, right?
Yeah.
Than when you were 20. So I learned on YouTube or Facebook groups. Like those are amazing. Like we have
Okay.
like, and there's so many experts that post in these groups or videos on tutorials on YouTube. Like there is
Okay.
information
YouTube.
out there, and I just, if I'm like getting ready for an event, I'll just play them in the background while I'm like getting stuff ready or food prepping or whatever, like so I could learn.
What do you think the perfect wife is?
So the perfect wife in an ideal scenario, if you have the structure there, the husband would be
Mhm.
someone that took care of herself. I personally really love caretaking, and so I make all my husband's food. I mean I work all day, but I still get up at 5 and make all his food for the day. um, I think that's important for men because they feel like cared for and nourished, and women, females, like nourish the family and men, right?
Mhm.
Um, and being attractive. Like I think that's very important because men are visual. Um, making a house a home, like these are all like little things that I think are
Mhm.
very feminine coded.
Nice. Good.
Okay.
I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
Did we miss anything? If not, we'll circle back. This has been great. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.